website right now and download my free course on alternate picking mastery. It contains 5 essential exercises that will take you to alternate picking mastery faster than you can imagine. And then I've included my method of how to lay out a practice plan in just 1 to 2 minutes that will absolutely boost your results like nothing you ever tried before. So go download it right now. It's free. Hey, I have a cool challenge for you that will involve many of the principles that we've been talking about in these YouTube videos. And I hope you'll take me up on it and really pull through here, because the results will be amazing. Nothing less than that. But before we go into the actual challenge, please go download the Ingenium Alternate Picking course. It's free. And the Sweep Picking course. Click the links below this video here. And don't forget to share this video if you think there's somebody who can benefit from it as well, besides yourself. So, what is the challenge? Well, the first part of the challenge is that of focus. And for the next 4 weeks, you will only focus on 3 things, and 3 specific things that you do. We need 3 things, because if I tell you to play like a sweep picking pattern, and that's the only thing you do for a month, which would be really cool. Which would be really cool, right? It will give you tons of results if you did that. But the brain is going to say, this is boring, pretty quickly, right? So you need something else that you can go along with, that you can do. And that might be a focus 2 chord, 2 chords that you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But we need something that is loopable, that you can go back and forth between, with no stopping, with no breaks in between. Oh. But you need something that is manageable and that you can practice beyond good, right? You need to come to the point where, Claus, I know this now and I got two weeks left. Fine, that's exactly what we're after. We're after mastery. We don't want to be good at anything, because good is not good enough, right? Once you start playing and the band is playing in the background, people are looking, and you have to perform, good will be poor, right? You need to reach the level of totally automatic, no problem, no effort whatsoever. That's when you can start playing real music. So you take a little pattern. Whatever is small and focused. And then it might be in 3 different areas, like picking, like hammer-ons and pull-offs, 3 different techniques, alternate picking, hammer-ons and pull-offs, sweep picking, or chords, or rhythm, or whatever it is, right? A riff that you can play over and over and over again, beyond good. And I mean, when you're good at it, you just double your effort. You just go all the way to total master. And what is master? What is mastery? It's effortlessness. Like talking, it's effortless, right? Like moving your hands. You don't even think about it. Driving a car, mastery. No thoughts whatsoever to what you're doing. It just happens. That's mastery. So that's the first part of the challenge. You take for 4 weeks, you focus on only those 3 things. And I don't want you to practice anything else, right? Nothing else than that. Nothing, right? And then I wanted you to take out a sheet of paper every time you practice, or register it and write it down in your iPhone, your iPad, your Android, whatever you have. And each and every time you practice any of the 3 exercises or loops, then you write down for how long you do it. So for the next 4 weeks, you start the clock, and you can do that as well if you have one of these devices, or use an old egg watch or whatever. And then you time yourself for how long am I actually practicing this. See, first we develop focus. That will just expand your results like incredibly. Then secondly, we start measuring what we do, which will expand yourself in results incredibly compared to what you normally get out of it, because the brain has this, it never does the right thing if you leave it to itself. It's going to practice 1,000 things out of boredom. Go on to something when you're good at it. On and on it goes with different songs and exercises, and we never really become good at anything. Secondly, it's going to think it's practicing much more than it really is. When you start practicing something, and after 2 minutes you go, now I must have been practicing for 50 minutes, right? Because, right? With the metron, right? And you look at the watch, I need to practice this for 30 minutes, right? And I only got in 2. So you will practice much more. You'll be much more conscious. And after those 4 weeks of focusing on only 3 things, 3 exercises within those areas, so you can go back and forth between. I'm not saying how much you should practice each thing. I'm just saying go on to the next thing once you're bored. But measure yourself. Predetermine how much you're going to practice. Is it 10 minutes, this pattern? Is that it? Is it 15? Is it 30? For how long can you go before you have to go on to one of the other exercises, right? Just work with it, but write down everything you do, so you're sure that you get it down. And that's going to ignite your results like incredibly. And the last thing I need you to do is, before you start each week, I need you to write down on a piece of paper or on your iPad the first exercise on the top, next exercise below, and the next again below. And then for each day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and whatever, right? You write down on what days are you going to practice it for how long. That's another way of measuring, but it's pre-measuring, you could say. It's planning. You say, okay, this takes 1 minute. And if you're not willing to do it, then you're not willing to get top skills, right? If you don't believe you can get there, you're not going to do this. Go watch the other video just before this. So you write the first exercise here. Then Monday, how much time are you going to spend practicing that? How much Tuesday? How much Wednesday? Just look at what you have available, right? And remember, you can practice with the metronome and in front of the TV, depending on what it is that you're practicing, or in front of YouTube. You take every chance you can to practice it. Then write down the time and then measure yourself along the way for 4 weeks. Then you write down how much time you actually practiced every day, right, for each exercise. You can do it on a piece of paper, or you can do it in a Excel, whatever, a document. You can do it whatever. It doesn't matter. Just so you write it down. And then you will really start getting conscious of what is actually going on when you practice. And I promise you, even though you think you know what goes on, that you think you know what you're doing, you have no clue. And you say, oh, Claus, no clue. Puh. Then if you're so sure of me talking BS right now, then please prove me wrong. Decide how much am I going to practice each exercise, and then just follow through on it every single day. And then write down how much you practice. This is a project of yours. I promise you, on the level of getting better at the 3 things, it's going to, you're going to really make some progress here on the actual practicalities of playing music. But more importantly, it's going to blow your mind if you can stick to this for 4 weeks, practicing only 3 things. I promise you, this will be the revolution you're looking for. This will make you go, wow. Wow to your results of, I didn't know I could do that, and that quickly, that fast. And secondly, you're going to go, I thought I was practicing like this. I thought this. I was sure I was, but I wasn't. Your brain is a story maker. It just makes up stuff, and it does it unconsciously without you even thinking about it, right? We think we do one thing, and actually in reality, when you start measuring, you can just see how unfocused, how scattered we are, and how we think we practice much more than we do. We take the best day ever from the week, and that was probably what happened every day, right? Because we like the positive emotions that gives us. But getting down to reality, getting down to that kind of focus, 3 things to focus on. Decide when the week starts, when am I going to practice it, for how long, and then measure it with your phone and whatever device you have. Writing that down will just change everything. I so urge you to do this. And if you won't do it, then just stop watching these videos, please, right? Because you need to put this into action. This will, give you the change both inside and outside in skills and just realization of what you really need to do to get to where you want to go. And you might say, but then I practiced 3 things, little secluded, little for a month, and I might be pretty good at it, but then there's all the other things I should have been practicing. Trust me, mastery will get you there. Mastery will open the gates of the, and mastery is just practice that one thing. Like I said, in another video with the violin, if you practice playing 3 notes perfectly for 6 months every single day, the same 3 notes, and you come out on stage and you just go, wow, right? That's going to give you the identity of the master. And that is going to come out in your actions and how you look in yourself and whether you can actually do it or not. Of course you can. You just did it with 3 notes. So let's start learning some more to that level. And the more you do that, the faster it goes. You'll develop like super rapidly suddenly because you brought it all the way to mastery. And it might take a little bit of a while in the beginning to take one thing all the way. Once you do, it's all open. That vast feel of incredibly, overwhelmingly mass amount of stuff you need to learn to come to that level you want to get to, that suddenly disappears and becomes totally manageable. Take the next step. Let's do this. Let's take this part of the land, and so on, right? It's really amazing how that works. So 3 things for 4 weeks. Don't practice anything else. Build the discipline to do that. Decide for how long am I going to practice each thing and when during the week. And then just write it down. Measure it every time you begin to practice. And if you're not good at measuring, you forget it the first week. You practice other things because, I got this project. Then just make that first week like an inlet. Like, okay, so I have to practice doing this, having that kind of focus, right? And I really mean it. When you pick up your guitar, don't play what you usually play. Don't play that lick that you're so comfortable with. Start right away. First thing, start with the first exercise. See if you can do it, right? It's a challenge. And I promise you, after those 4 weeks of practicing 3 things and measuring everything will be changed. So do it, and I'll see you by the end of the 4 weeks. I hope tomorrow. But please let me know what you get out of it. Please write it back to me, and I promise, if you refer to this video, I will answer personally. Because it's so important. I live for these things. So see you in tomorrow's video. Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.